as I showed you in my Vishwarupa. That is what I am. That's what it is opposite to Saulabhyam. There he showed the Saulabhyam, accessibly, but now he's showing the supremacy. How I am. So you need not have any trace of doubt whether this guy can save me or not. Because the doubt will always be there, right? When we surrender to someone, whether he is able to do something or not, how do we know that? And if he also goes, we also will go. You know, the Markandeya surrendered to Lord Mahasiva and then asked for boons. And then he said, okay, I give you Chiranjeevitvam. You know, you can live forever, that he said. And then 16 years passed. And then Mahapralayam just occupied the entire world. And everybody started floating in the Mahapralaya. Markandeya also was just going. And he said, I got the boon from Lord Mahasiva. And what is this? I am also just, just going in this Mahapralaya. What happened? And then he looked around. And Mahasiva also came. And then he asked, hey Lord, what is this? You are also coming along with me? What is this happening? And then what can I do? Because I should also go. But what about the boon you have sanctioned to me? And he said, okay. Because God accepted me to give boons, so I gave the boon. And that's all I know. But tell me, why should you give me boon? What should do? Let's go to God and ask why he gave you the permission to sanction the boons. Come on, let's go. Both went to the Vyuha, Vasudeva. And then Lord Mahasiva requested God, I gave him a boon because you said to do boons. I gave him a boon, but I'm not able to fulfill that. What can I do, sir? And then God said, you have given some limit. In that limit you can give all the boons, whatever is required. But if you keep on going beyond your limit, how you think that it fulfills? See, when you are working for a business concern, a small business concern, then there will be different people at different levels. Each one will be given some kind of discretion power to deal with the customers. And while doing so, a person is accepted to spend the money up to 1,000. You need not ask anybody. You need not ask his superiors to spend something below 1,000. But his boss is permitted to spend up to 5,000. And the superintendent beyond him is also permitted to spend up to 10,000. There is a limit. So up to 1,000, this guy need not go to his superiors, and he can just simply spend the money and get back to the superior boss, and he can just say, I spent this money. So it will be reimbursed. Again, the impressed money, whatever is required, will be kept with him. That's called interest. He always keeps 1,000 with him. And within the 1,000, anything he can spend, and he will get back. Anything he can spend, he can get back. But the superior will be having permission up to 5,000. So he can spend anything below 5,000. He need not seek permission from anybody. And after spending, he submits all the bills, and that will be reimbursed. That's it. But the one who is having permission up to 1,000, spend 10,000, and just came to the boss, what happens? He'll be fired. Who asked you to spend 10,000? If you have to spend beyond 1,000, I think obviously you have to go to the superiors and get the sanction first. Then only you can spend, otherwise you will be punished. So also, Lord Mahasiva, I gave you permission to give boons to this extent. Beyond that, you are not supposed to give any boon. Obviously, Brahmaji knows that limit. So when Hiranyakasipu asked him, hey, I want deathlessness, then he said, I'm sorry, I'm unable to sanction that for you. You ask with some conditions, then I'll be able to sanction because I have permission only for that. But just a blank check, no death, that's not in my jurisdiction. In fact, in my code of conduct, that's not mentioned. With any conditions, yes, I can sanction. Then Hiranyakasipu asked him, like, I should not die with lively things and with lifeless things in the morning times and the night times and with the human beings and with the Yaksha, Rakshasa, Gandharva, Kinnara, Kimpurusha, Naga, like that. And I should not die in the ground, I should not die in the space. That's how he kept, because conditional death is avoided. That much permission is there to Brahma. So all probabilities were thought of by Hiranyakasipu and then asked, yes, I got everything done. Nothing beyond this, no one can cause anything to me. He thought that he covered everything and then asked. Because it is conditional thing, anything conditional you can sanction. That is the code of conduct provided to Brahmaji. He said, okay, sanction. Okay, sanction. But he did not understand, any condition, any conditional clause will have always some kind of exemptions. Any conditional clause will have some kind of exemptions. But he did not think that. Because he did not think, and Brahmaji gave that, so God has chance. You should not die during the day or during the night. What is the time available then? Then he took the time like Sandhya time. But he did not cross through the mind of Hiranyakasipu. And he asked me, with lively things and with lifeless things, I should not die. Things are only in two ways. Either they are inert objects or lively objects. Only two things. But still God found a way out for that, They found nails. They grow, so there is life. And they won't have any kind of pain here, because some people, because they won't find food in the home, so they keep eating their nails. So, but they won't hurt. They won't hurt. So there is no life in that. So he found things like that, in spite of his asking, putting all the possible clauses, but then he found something way out, and that's how it took. That's how I did not give you permission to give, deathlessness. But why did you sanction that to Markandeya? Is it right for you to sanction such things beyond your limit? That means you committed a mistake. Because you committed a mistake, you will be fired. But we need a witness. Even in future, nobody should give such a kind of sanctions, for which I keep Markandeya. Because you give the boon to him, and you are my devotee, so I fulfill that boon, but you have to go because you crossed your limit. You go into Mahapralaya. Let Markandeya be there and witness how the Srishti takes place, how the Pralaya also takes place, and who does the Srishti and Pralaya. Let him stand as a witness. So he kept Markandeya as a witness to find out how the whole world during the time of dissolution goes into the stomach of the Lord, and again how the creation starts from his navel. All this was seen by Markandeya. That is what Markandeya explains to Pandavas while they were in the forest. In Mahabharata we can see the story like this. He said, I have seen this. I am the right person and I witnessed everything directly. And he explains that to Pandavas. It's a It's a conditional supremacy, to prove his supremacy. That he showed that. So this is the one what he said, the mom and accessibility. And quite opposite to that is aham, the unquestionable supremacy. It is what he is showing here. So Arjuna was really not feeling secure. He was a kind of scared. Now what happens if I give up everything? If I just leave everything? Then if I just give all the dharma and hold him, then what happens? This is a kind of doubt he was having in his heart, and to clarify all those doubts, he showed his supreme personality and then said, aham. Don't think that I am just like a driver. Tanakkaha konda saradhya veshattaihi avanayittu paarade tannai ittu paathu anjina acham tira anana tanmai aham endru kaattigirom. Tanakkaha konda saradhya vesham. Why Krishna has taken the form like a driver? It's not for God's sake he has taken. He took it for the sake of Arjuna only. Right? To save Arjuna, actually he has accepted the saradhya vesham. So Tanakkaha konda, for the sake of Arjuna, whatever the form has taken as Sarathi, avanayittu paarade, he did not see the greatness of Lord. He did not understand the greatness of Lord. But he thought, oh, because I requested, he became my driver. That's how he thought. Tannai ittu paathu. From his own shoes, he was trying to perceive the greatness of Lord Krishna. And then he started, frightening. Anjina acham tira. Because he was so scared, and to relieve him from his fear, him from his fear, tanana tanmaye, who I am, what's my real nature? So his real form, his real nature is being revealed with the word aham. He's showing what I am. You need to understand. Then you can surrender. Aham in the Kartikeyan. He's showing to Arjuna. Kidil Paratantriyam. இந்த சுவாதந்திரியத்தினுடைய எல்லை நிலவிலே. Yeah. Here, Lord Krishna became the driver. You know why he became driver? Because his unquestionable independence he has. So he can do anything. A peon cannot go to the chairman's chair and can sit there, because he's not having that capability. But a chairman can come down to the peon's chair and he can sit there. He got that liberty. He got that independence. He can come down, but this guy cannot go there, you see. So that is what Krishna is here. He became the driver. He comes down to that level because he got all kinds of independence. Who can question him? He became so sulabha. He became so accessible. And he came so down to the earth because He got unquestionable independence. Who can question him if he comes down? No one can do it. So, becoming driver also is the result of his supremacy, is unquestionable supremacy. So he can go up and he can go down also. And who will question? If we go down, we go down because of our weakness. Right? But he comes down out of his mercy, out of his compassion, and because of his supremacy. So, this, what we call Swatantriyam, the independence basically, but here is not, the independence is not the right word, is supremacy. The supremacy is so unquestionable, and by which he goes down to any level. Any level. Nobody can question him there. He can become your servant also. This is out of his supremacy only he goes to that down. From there also he can do anything. That is the Archamurti. He chose to be an Archamurti so that you can do anything with him. Sometimes you are upset, you throw it, and still he accepts. That means he accepted to be that way. See, when he was like Krishna, I think Satyabhama sometimes was beating him with her foot. Who is he? Who is he? Holding her feet. And he's saying, oh, how much pain that happened to you. Oh. Is it what he has? That is the result of his supremacy. No one can question him so that he can go even to the down. This is also the result of the supremacy, How much supremacy he possesses, that is seen there. That is what he says, the sutra. Kidil Paratantriyamum. Saradi is a Paratantra. When a driver is under the control of the person who is the master, is the boss. Arjuna is the boss, and Krishna is the driver. That means he made himself as a dependable one, something under control of the boss, the Arjuna. He adjusted himself like that. Why? Because he can. He can. That's Paratantriyam we call. So the Paratantriyam which is shown as driver is also Swatantriyattinudaya Yellai Nilam, is the peak of his supremacy. Like the peak of his supremacy. That's what he says. So this is what he is showing in the form of Aham. And then he shows that kind of I, Tva Aham Tva Sarvapapebhyo Mokhaishyami. And he is showing you also as Tva. He is focusing as Tva, you. This is second case. Tva is the second case. Both are there. Ninnu. And why he is focusing us? He is showing how great we are. In the next sutra. Ajnanai, Asektanai, Apraptanai, Yannaye, Upayamaha, Patti Irukira, Unnai. This is what you are. Exactly opposite. That is what we are. We think that we are so great. We are so great we think because we were given a conditional freedom, conditioned freedom, but we think that we are everything. Are we everything? We know we have no control over our own body. No control. But how can we declare ourselves and we are the Supreme God Himself, God ahead? Nowadays we see so many people keeping their names as Bhagavan, so and so, Bhagavan, so and so. My God, what a kind of Bhagavans are. How many Bhagavans are there? There are so many Bhagavans in one street and no Bhagavan goes with other Bhagavan. Both Bhagavans fight with each other. Is it that Bhagavan? Does it happen like that? And then the other day the one Bhagavan is kept in jail because he grabbed some piece of land. And is it the Bhagavan? See, people keep the title like Bhagavan and then, even they know their own limitations and people know their limitations, but still, they fall free after them, of such people. So what a kind of Bhagavans are they? What a kind of supremacy they have, what a kind of qualities they have. But we don't understand that. But then one becomes Bhagavan who will be unquestionably ruling this entire universe. He occupied the entire earth with his speech and in the space with his speech. And nobody questioned him. Did anybody take a question to him? When he occupied everything as a Trivikrama, 1 foot earth and 1 foot space and 1 foot on the belly, that's it. Gone, everything. Who questioned that? So, but we think that we are great. And then we start posing as if we are God. Somebody should come and beat him. Finish. And these people give blessing in others. It is so funny. But people accept that. That is more funny. That's more amazing. These people posing is not amazing, but people following them is amazing. Adhenaiva niyamana yadhantaha. The Upanishad says, Andhenaiva niyamana yadhantaha. One blind is going and 100 blind are following them. What happens? When he falls in some pit, all the 100 fall in the same pit. That's what we are. So that is what we are. Ajnana, really no jnana for us. But we think that we are the scholars. And we are noble laureates. And what is the nobleship, what we have? One noble, somebody said something and he got a Nobel Prize. And next year somebody denied that and he got a Nobel Prize. And next year he was denied again and then he got some other prize. I think this is what exactly happened. Somebody formed a theory and he got a Nobel Prize. Another one denied that theory, he got a Nobel Prize. Again, that theory was denied by some other person, he got a Nobel Prize. What is the value of your Nobel Prize then? To what you are giving Nobel Prizes? For the theories which will not stand and which are, constantly changing from day to day. That is your knowledge. Ajnanai, asektanai. You are not able to manage yourself. You are not able to conduct yourself. That is the Shakti we have. We are not able to control our own people around. Forget about other people. And we need somebody's help to stand on our own. And we need somebody's help to bring something our own baggage. That is what Shakti we have. Asektana, incapable. This is what I am talking in terms of the physical things. Forget about the intellectual things. And apraptanali, we are not able to protect ourselves. That means we have no link with the body. We think that body is ours, right? We think the body is ours. I am able to do my thing. It is my body and stuff. And the person will next day in the hospital because of the heart attack. And you said this is my body and I am so sick, this and that, and I cover everything. What happened to your body then? Why you are hospitalized? Why your body is not listening to you? Why your mind is not listening to you? Why you gone to the coma? Who is the person to ask all these questions? Who is there to answer all these questions, even if somebody asks? Yannaye upayamaha patirikira unnai. So, having me as the means, that is what you are. You are having me as the means, and you are incapable and not having any control over you and not knowing everything at all. So these are the qualities that what you have. And what are you going to do with me now? Tell me. You are such a great, I am such a fool. That's okay. Then what? Sarva papebhyaha. So then he is taking the third word from the second part of the sutra. Sarva papebhyaha mat prapti pratibandhakangal யாவை யாவை சில பாபங்களை குறித்து அஞ்சுகிறாய் அவ்வோ பாபங்கள் எல்லாவற்றில் நின்னும் சர்வ பாபேப்யஹ. This is what he is talking about now. Here also there are three things in this. One is the papa, and then there is a plural number, papebhya. This is in the fifth case. No, it's Panchami Vibhakti. Panchami Vibhakti means anni papamula nundi, from all the sins. And here is sarva. One is the papa, then the plurality, and then sarva. Three parts are there, as we have sarva, dharma, and plural, pari, yaga, and liya. Like that here also three parts in this word. One is the sarva and the papa and plural number. These are the three things that are here. So what are these things are saying? That is what the Prabhupada Swami is saying here. First of all, he is taking the word papa. Mat prapti pratibandhakangal endru. There are few things which stop you from reaching me. Because of the papa only we are not able to reach God anyway. Right? Whatever that blocks, that is the papa. What does it mean by papa? What is papam? Impediments to reach God. Papam means basically whatever that blocks our desire. That's papa. Ishta Virodhi. Virodhi, that means blocks. Virodhi means don't think enemy, not enemy. The root means to stop. Rodhan. Avarodham, we call it speed breaker. There is speed breaker, Vega Virodhi. Or you can call it Vega Virodhi. Virodhi means not enemy. Virodhi means that which blocks. which blocks. So Virodhi is basically a blockade. So, Ishta Virodhi and then Anishta Hetu. So it stops our desires and it imposes something we don't expect. Now whatever we don't want, it brings them and falls on us. And then we are much worried about that. Right? That is what we call as papa. I didn't expect this to happen, but that happened to me. That means Anishta Prapti, it is called. Ishtam is gone, Anishtam has fallen on me. So it stopped my desire and gave something undesired. Whichever causes these two things is called a papa. That is what we call the papam. So, but here it is talking about the moksha prakaran, right? It is not the worldly thing what is discussed here. So, when you want to understand God, when you want to surrender to God, what will be the thing that are blocking you? What will block it? It is, it's the ignorance. It's the ignorance. That is called Jnana Virodhi. But how does the ignorance occupy us? How does the ignorance occupy us? So it creates some kinds of riches in us on unwanted stuff. And then sometimes whatever the upayam that we want to believe in, and that also will be confused. So it confuses our thought towards the upaya, which is called upaya virodhi. And then prapti virodhi. We wanted to reach God. And something that allows not to reach God, but to reach something else. It diverts our journey. That's called prapti virodhi. You know, prapti virodhi. Prapti is something what we get, and that also blocks that. So prapti virodhi, upaya virodhi, and ruchi virodhi, and jnana virodhi. These are the things, these kind of blockades will be there for us, which never allow us to fulfill our desires of just reaching God and doing something there we can't. These are to be eliminated. These are the papas that we have. So this is not just one virodhi. There are many virodhis, so many papas. So they are papes here. Right? So what is jnana virodhi? We are supposed to have knowledge, the fivefold knowledge we need to have. What is the fivefold knowledge? Ardhapanchaka jnana, what we call it. We need to know what I am. We need to know what he is. We need to know what to do with him. And we need to know how to do that. And we need to know what will be the hurdle. These are the 5 things we are supposed to know. And the knowledge which we are supposed to have like this, which is called the Ardha Panchaka Jnana, that will be blocked by something else. Something else comes and falls in us. And we try to perceive those things. We want to pursue such things. And then we run after that. Now it is like when we were young, we used to ask to bring something from the market. And go and purchase something and come. So we used to go there to the market. But while going to the market, in some place in the middle, there used to be some persons who used to do some kind of magics. They used to do some kind of magic, like, just doing something. Somebody keeps jumping up and down. Few things they used to do. So they're very attractive. So we used to stand there and keep watching forgetting why we started and why we are here and where to go and again how to get back, fast to the home. We used to forget all those things and see, how beautiful this guy is jumping. My goodness. And then he does something like that. So, there are certain attractions which drag you from the mainstream, main track, and then sometimes you are lost. That's called Jnana Virodhi. Jnana Virodhi. And what is the Ruchi Virodhi? So, something that comes in between and says, this is far better than going to God. Watch something, the TV, this will not be there tomorrow. So the serial will be gone tomorrow, so watch it please. So that is Upaya Virodhi, Ruchi Virodhi. And then Upaya Virodhi is that, okay, I can do something for tomorrow, no problem. I do some practice and I can finish it. So you think that your prashchitta will fulfill the problems. In fact, the real one which has to pass away everything is a heat. But suddenly things come like, oh, okay, I can do this. I can just do some mantra. I can do some japa. I can do some tarpana. I can do some homa. Or I can chant some Sudarsana Sadaka Parayana, Sundarakanta Parayana. The things will be addressed clearly. And then I can again tread my path. This you thought as a upaya to remove the hurdles in between. That means you already gone. You already choose some other upaya. That became upaya virodhi. But few things were given already in Tirumantra and Dvaya Mantra. They were addressed already. But other than those things, what we have today is the Prapti Pratibandhaka. While reaching Him, there are some hurdles that may come in between. Whatever the things that come from all those things, I will leave you. Prapti Pratibandhaka virahitam kuryam. Whatever that stops you in reaching me from all those hurdles, I relieve you and I provide the way so that you can reach me safe. That's what he is trying to say here. Prapti Pratibandhakangal endru. There are some hurdles which block you in reaching me from all those things. Whatever the papas that are in the way and you are scared of those things, Ago papam anjudira, you are frightened. Ago papam ellavathil nindu, from all those papas, I relieve you, so don't worry. That is what he said. What are they? What are those things? That's what he explaining, giving the quotation from Alvars. Poi ninna jnanamum polla urukkum arukkudambum enkirapadiye avidya karma vasana ruchi prakriti sambandhangalai sollugirathu. So these are the things which always block us in reaching Him. This is the Bahuvachana. Papa is said in the blockade. And Papebhyaha, there are many. What are those many? Alvars said in one of his songs, Poi ninna jnanamum, the knowledge which is always corrupted. Then what we have now? The corrupted knowledge. And now what people say? Now the human race born on this earth just 5,000 years ago. And we are from the Indus Valley civilization, so we are called as Hindus. Now, are you from Indus Valley? Huh? No. Huh? Then where are you from? From Rishis.
Vedic.
Yeah, that's right. We are from Vedic civilization. And the age of which goes back to millions of years. That's a millennia. Not 1, 2,000 or 2,000, no. It goes back to thousands of years. From then we are. Some people must be living on the banks of Indus. Some people must be living on the banks of Ganga. Some people on the banks of Kaveri. Some people on the banks of Godavari. Some people on the banks of Krishna. Some people on the banks of Tamrabarni. There are many rivers on the banks of those rivers, and many people were living and during those times. Everybody did not come from Indus, and all are not, Hindus. If you are from Indus and you are a Hindu, and if you are from Kaveri, you are a Kaverite. And if you are from Krishna, you are a Christian. That's how you are talking, right? You are from Indus and so you are Hindu. And if that is the case, and if you are from river Ganga, you are Gangite. You are a Gangeya. That's it. That's how you have to be identified. Why you have to be identified as a Hindu only? And if the river is the criterion for recognizing you as a person, belonging to something. Do you understand? This is what we are. This is our knowledge. Our knowledge is totally corrupted. That is what the West wanted us to. They never wanted you to know yourself. They wanted you to understand that you are something else than what you are. And that they are very much successful. They are always successful with their plans because the strategy is such. They plan well, they execute well. And you never plan, and you never execute. So our jnanam is corrupted. Polla urukkum, arukudambum. Arukudambu, the dirty body we have, is polla urukkum. It always secretes, secretions, something that is dirt. So that is the body we have. This is what we are in. And this is happening not just today. This is the result of our karmic attachments here, which started in a cyclic way. Started from avidya, first of all the ignorance. Because of that, then karmic records. And because of them, the vasanas started forming, instincts. Something that come up becomes a ruchi. And because of that ruchi, again we are given a body. And with that body, again we fall into ignorance, avidya, karma, vasana, ruchi, prakriti-bandha, avidya, karma, vasana, ruchi, prakriti-bandha, again avidya. This is a cycle. And in which we constantly move round. That's it. That's how we are. So these are the things what he's talking as sarva papas. Because of this body connection only we are away from God. And this came because of the karmic bondage we have, which leads to avidya, karma, vasana, ruchi, etc. If these are gone, we are pretty much with God. God is now here only. When we think God is everywhere, God is here also. But are you able to understand the presence of God with you? No? That is the body, that is the power of the body, you understand?
But Swamiji, if God has instructed human beings to do their karma, and if God is in everything, He is the driving force behind everything, then why is human being responsible for his actions?
Again you come back. It is because the human beings means jivas, not human beings, don't think the human bodies. Jivas. So the jiva is in this body, able to understand something. The same jiva is in an animal, same jiva is in a tree, same jiva is in an insect. Insect like a mosquito, fly, bugs, and so many other bacteria. Each one has a jiva in it. All these are called jivas. You are also a jiva like that. but you are blessed enough to get this human body so that you are able to understand. But they are also the same jivas, but their bodies won't allow them to understand if I speak like this. But you are able to understand at least to some extent, if not totally. And I am able to speak this much, though I am not knowing so totally. Understand? What I am speaking, I may not be knowing everything. What you are listening, you are not knowing everything. But at least I am speaking something and you are hearing something and you are trying to understand something. I am also trying to understand something. This is what's happening at least because of this body we have, the human body. They are also having bodies, but they are not blessed to understand even that much. We are jivas, basically. Permitted to some extent to use our knowledge, basing on the karmas that we have. The karma instincts that we created, it's not something God has given. You are attracted towards this and start doing something, just start creating records on you. And how many records you created is unknown to anybody. And many are there like that. And that is the result. So their God is most untouchable. So he is in no way concerned. Yes, he made the things to happen and then that's it. His responsibility is finished. And when you want to just, just go down and come, up and up like that, what he does, he never involves in these kind of things. But without his help, even you can't move in this given territory also. A frame is given for you to move. But if he's not there, even you can't move. We always give the example of the hands of the clock. Are you responsible for the movement of these things? No. But are you responsible? If you remove the battery, what happens? But are you responsible or not? Huh?
Yes.
Confused. Totally confused. So, there is battery behind, and without battery the hands won't move. And with the battery the hands move. And even though with the battery the hands move, one moves once in a minute, one moves once in an hour, one moves once in 12 hours. Now what is that? And with the battery is the same thing and hands are the same thing, and why one has to move fast, one has to move slow, or one has to still fast. All should move equally. Or all should not move at all. Why? Now tell me, is the battery responsible?
No, the person who created it is responsible.
That is correct. Hands are like us. Okay? Which are moving. And jiva is like a battery. With the jivas, things start moving. But battery cannot work on its own until you fix it in that. You are like God. So great. So, until he helps, the soul cannot be here. Until the soul is here, the body cannot move. But in the movement of the hands, I think the battery is no way concerned. And you are also not concerned. Are you responsible for its movement? But if it doesn't move properly, then you throw it out.
But in some chapters, God has mentioned that I will be responsible for your actions also, because He said to
That's
Arjuna.
what I say. I am responsible by keeping the battery in the clock. Without me, how can the battery be there?
And why is He giving us bad thoughts to do in such a way? Why is He giving us the desires? He can stop us from all those desires.
He never gives them. That's what you made. You made and you are experiencing. That's it. That's what I say. He is no way concerned. He is no way responsible. Whatever the thing that is created for you, and you move in that. That's it. And you create that on your own by your deeds. But without him, even you can't move. In the given territory also. That's where you have to surrender. But if the surrenderance is 100%, then he tries to involve. But we are not that 100% sure. So just he waits for that. The persons like Prahlada, they are 100%. Because they are 100%, he involved with them. And then he tried to just, put something there. Then the father gave poison and said, come on, drink it. He said, that's okay. This is the form of Lord Narayana. Ajataya Namaha, Anantaya Namaha, Govindaya Namaha. Get finished. Nothing happened. And the father said, no, throw the swords on him, cut him to pieces. And then he said, that's okay, Vishnu is in your swords, in your hands, and in me. The same Vishnu. Come on, occupy me. Well, nothing happened. Are you sure like that? So we are not that much sure. So that means we are not 100% surrendered. Because we are not surrendered, then he waits for the time.
How to become like that? How to become like
have
that?
the faith. What he said, have the faith, develop the faith. You need to develop the faith what is said. And if you do that, that's enough. But basically we need to have the strong, unfathomable faith. That's the important thing. That's why all these explanations start to come. Why these things are necessary otherwise? Why Privalokacharya should come and why he has to give all this? And why should I sit make you sit from morning to evening yesterday today? It is not necessary. First listen and then understand and then start believing in that. Let it be transformed as faith and then just dedicate to that. It's a step-by-step process, see. And now, he said, what is the Bahuvachanam? Sarva, he said the Papa, what is Papa?